All right, so I think corporal punishment could reduce the crime rate because, from a psychological perspective, people tend to stop doing things that, if their actions can punish them, then they will more than likely not do it anymore. So, for example, there's this thing in psychology called reinforcement and punishment, where you can actually add something to reduce the likelihood of a behavior. So if you could add corporal punishment into the justice system, then I believe that could reduce the crime rate because people would be less likely to commit crimes when they realize that there is punishment out there for them. So that's my take on it.
Thank you very much for sharing. Anybody
Go
else would
ahead,
like to
Jenny
take
O'Garnett.
Okay.
Hi, good night. Janelle here. All right, so I kind of differ that I believe that corporal punishment would reduce the crime. If you notice that based on the type of crimes that are taking place these days, these persons they don't care about how they carry out the acts, because if you notice they're killing children, they're killing adults, so it doesn't matter. So to me, whether or not you implement corporal punishment, it will not affect them in any shape or form. It won't stop, basically, because what I noticed, right, most of these persons that are carrying it out, they are young persons. Now, if you can go and shoot somebody in broad daylight, say for example, you cut their throats. I mean, I remember an incident where they cut off somebody's head. So I honestly don't believe that implementing corporal punishment will really help these set of persons who are carrying out the act. Probably if it was the older persons, yes, but not these sets. I believe that they have made up their mind whether it's either they're gonna die. If it's set go, they just don't care. So I don't believe putting in corporal punishment will help.
Thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Serena.
We're listening. We'll take one more and then we'll move on to the next category.
And also, I think you're missing the point because we see where they are at now, so maybe we can't change this generation. Yes, accepted. However, if we started to implement this back in our children, it would give them something to, and as I put this out there, respect, because when you teach a child the right thing to do and they don't do it, they must know that there is some action behind that. You can't just keep talking. And this is why I know the criminals are like this. They don't care, because we know that overall the Jamaican society will just talk. We can't even catch the criminals at this time. And so if we implement something from there this young in them, which so when they do wrong, so there's a consequence. There's a consequence to it. They don't care, because when they do wrong, there's nothing behind it, and so you don't develop that sense of respect for society or any kind of attitude. So maybe we can't save this generation, but there's another generation coming up, and so this change will not only impact us but our grandkids and our children's children. And I'm sure we want to see our grandkids and our great grandkids and our great grandkids grow up in a society that is right, less crime.
Thank you very much for sharing. I see 2 more hands. Okay. All right. We'll take 2 more hands, but I'm going to time you each. You're going to have 2 minutes and then we'll move on. All right. So go ahead, Hall.
I don't think I need 2 minutes, but I agree with what Davis said, because it's not in every situation punishment the best solution, because sometimes you punish person and it develop a grief inside of them. So I don't think corporal punishment will reduce crime.
Britannia.
Hello, good day. So, for that question, I believe that corporal punishment, when people think of corporal punishment, they automatically think about children, but corporal punishment can be done to adults as well. When you think about certain crimes, for instance, rape, and crimes like those, they get such a light sentence, and when they come out of prison, they can basically go again and perpetrate other young females or children. As the statement was said before, Jamaicans pay approximately $1.3 million per inmate to take care of them for the entire year, which is more than a lot of people are earning for the entire year. I think that they deserve more punishment. They should get a certain amount of punishment, like beating, flogging, a certain degree of flogging. It will help them to not do it again when they come out, especially for certain crimes, such as sex crimes. A lot of sex crimes, person come out in like 8 years out of prison, a short of. I've known persons who have been sexually assaulted, and the person come out of prison in like 2 years. 2 years, the person gets convicted for it, go out and they do the same thing again. But if they were being punished and flogged, especially the fact that we are paying our taxpayers' money, when they come out, they're going to reconcile and then they're going to have to go back into the prison again, and it's the same cycle over and over again. So I think that they should, like, corporal punishment should be put into at least prison sentences. Or sometimes the prison sentence alone is too light for the type of crime that is committed. So it depends on the type of crime. If it's like a drug offense, I think that can be easily part of like for sexual offenses and certain crimes. I think that it should be put in place.
Okay,
Next
thanks for
person
that,
up,
Britannia. Anyone else?
I see
Johnny
Winter's
Winter.
hand. Yes, and then after Winter, Garnet Davis.
All right, good night. So in my opinion, corporal punishment will help but also wouldn't. It depends on the child. However, when kids are young, they haven't necessarily experienced life as yet. They generally don't know the full concept between right or wrong. So to me, when they pick up certain behaviors, when you hit them, they will most likely not do it again because they're not accustomed to pain and the discomfort of it. So they'll connect that with it and most likely not repeat the act. But as I said before, it is based on the child because the more you hit them, the angrier they become. And in most instances, simple stern talk to goes a long way. And like beatings don't change some of them. It gives them a reason to be angry, hence no change or a change for the worse. So it has its advantages in helping, but disadvantages in making it worse.
Thank you very much for sharing. Next person.
All right.
Natalia.
No, it's Garnet Davis first and then you.
Oh yes, Garnet, sorry.
All right. So just to add to what the young lady just said, right? Because I was gonna say something similar to what you just said. And if you even go back to back in the days when you had the slaves, like we were one of the bad persons. Because if you notice, when they used to beat the slaves found a way to retaliate. So yes, I will say that it would help to some extent. But if you look at or crime rate, the types of crime that is happening nowadays, it is just, I don't see how it would help to reduce it. Probably if as I had said earlier, if they had implemented in back in the days, never removed it by like doing the hanging and all of that, well, probably yeah. But no, coming in with no, I really and truly don't think, based on this generation going forward, that it would help. That's just my 2 cents.
All right, Natty, go ahead. Thank you for sharing.
No, they had pretty summed up what I was going to say.
All right, great. I see that we have multiple, personalities, varying personalities, different ways to look at this. Some agree, some disagree.
Hold on, there's one more hand up. I saw Sandy Allen.
Okay, go ahead, Allen.
Hi, good night, everyone. I'm going to agree with Serena in regards to her point that she said we have to implement something because future generations haven't been born as yet. And yes, I do understand when persons say that it will not help some persons. But if we look at life, stuff will affect some persons and it won't affect some. But we still have to try and make a change. And if corporal punishment will change some, at least we can try because we can't just say it's not going to help. And different methods work for everyone. It doesn't have to be severe, but we have to have some deterrent so that we change the persons who haven't been born as yet. Let them be born and see something different, because the crime is getting out of hand and we have to implement something to stop. So that's just my point of view.
All right, thank you very much for sharing, Alan. I see two more hands. I'm gonna go with Gail and then Natty. So Shani, you can go ahead.
Hi. First of all, like the topic, but I was a little bit late. Could somebody please remind me of the question?
All right, no
Okay,
problem.
so
Thank
the
you for
question
joining
is,
us.
do you think corporal punishment could reduce the crime rate?
It possibly could, Let me tell you, what I realize is that most of the times when you say, like, especially the boy children, whenever they're involved in crimes and stuff like that, I realize that it's mostly the ones that like their mother kind of their parents always kind of spoil them or pick up for them. They usually favoritism because they must say, no, not my picnic kind of this thing kind of that. And yet still, as always, them are the ones picking up the guns and doing this and doing that. Growing up with corporal punishment, you always say, you know what, me not gonna do this because me not say anyhow me do this when me go home, me go get a beating. Yet still, there is certain levels to this thing because you can't spare the rod and spoil the child, but yet still you must not abuse them because some of them take this corporal punishment thing too far because they're literally abusing the children, and then that is where the children build up this hatred against them and they start to rebel and them go take up gun and drugs and all kind of things. So persons as parents are adults now doing the corporal punishment to the children, they should know that there is a level to this thing. Because when you bring it up to a certain level of abuse, they're going to build up a hatred and a spirit of rebellion is going to take them over. And they're going to want to be against everything that you try to instill, to put into them or to teach them. So with everything, there is some sort of level to it. You should know what is too little and what is too much. But I think could possibly help the situation, but we should do all things in moderation.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much for sharing.